Hi everyone, welcome to our HotRock at Home video. Today we're going to be talking to you about what it means to be brave and courageous. Some of you might be going back to school or have just started. Some of you might be facing new challenges like moving to a new house or starting at a nursery or just doing lots of new things or meeting new friends. Sometimes that can make you feel really excited and you're like really looking forward to seeing your friends again or making new friends. But for some of you, that might be quite a scary thought, something that makes you nervous or worried inside. There have been lots of changes recently and all different things around us have sometimes made us all a bit worried about things or having to be careful and to be safe. But today we want to talk to you about how God is always with you because He loves you so much. He will always protect you, He will always be with you, and He will make you brave and courageous. We're going to look at a game in a moment that helps you learn a bit more about this. I wonder if you can work out which Bible story we're talking about when we play the game. See if you can work it out. Hi everyone, I'm going to play a game now with Annie. Hopefully it will remind you of a story from the Bible. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stones. Does that remind you of a story you know with 5 stones? We're going to try now to see who could be the first person to knock over a bottle. I wonder who it will be. I think I'm going to win, but Annie thinks she will. Shall we see who's right?
I'm going to win.
No, I'm going to win.
I'm going to win.
Right, Annie, your turn first.
No.
It's 1 stone each, and that was a bit short.
No.
Oh no, I've got 3 left.
Oh.
Oh no, I just missed it. Oh, Annie just missed. Oh, I made it wobble. Oh, yay!
That was
Annie
my
got
last one.
Annie
My
did it on
last
her
one.
5th stone. But I know a story about someone called David. Did you guess the story today? David did something with just 1 stone. Let's go and find out that story now. Let's look at a story together that you might know from the Bible, all about a boy called David and a giant called Goliath. It was a breezy battle day. Goliath was a big man, a giant. Very scary. He was huge and he was so tall that his head would go through your ceiling. He had a big voice and he loved.
I'm gonna get you, you little squirts.
He would stamp his feet and shout. He knew many people were scared of him. Every time he shouted, people ran away from him.
They ran away from me. I'm scary.
David, on the other hand, was just a boy. He was the youngest and he helped to look after the sheep. One day, David's dad Jesse asked him to take some bread and cheese to his older brothers who were fighting against Goliath and his army. When David arrived, he was amazed how scared everyone was of big, tall Goliath. David was small, but he was brave, and he knew God was on his side. So David decided to fight Goliath. He went to see the king. King Saul was very surprised that someone as small as David wanted to fight big, tall Goliath, but nobody else was brave enough. So he said yes. David was brave because he had fought lions and he had fought bears when he was looking after his sheep, and because he knew that God was on his side. The king offered David his own king's shiny armour, but David did not want it. I'm not wearing these, he said. Instead, he got 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them in his shepherd's bag. He took his shepherd's stick and a sling, and he went off to meet Goliath. When Goliath saw David, he laughed.
Ha! Come and fight me, you squirts.
He laughed and he laughed. David shouted back, "You come to attack me with your big sword and your spear. I come to attack you in the name of the Lord of all heaven's armies.
Come here if you're hard enough.
I will show you that God rescues his people. This is God's battle and we will win." We will win! Goliath walked towards David. David ran towards him. Reaching into his bag, he took out just 1 stone and swinging it in the mighty wind, he slung it round and hurled the stones at a mighty thud. Oh, he's over there. There he is. Poor old Goliath. David's army were delighted and they jumped and they shouted for joy. What do you think the Philistine army did? Now their champion had died, they ran away. And the battle was won. God had saved his people and beaten the giant, all because one young boy was brave and he knew that God was on his side. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story of David and Goliath. Wasn't that giant scary? Little squirts, he had a cheek, didn't he? Well, I want you to know today that God is on your side, just like he was with David. So any giant you're facing, any problem that you think might be something you're a bit worried about, any moving house or going to school or situations that you can think of in your life that may be making you a bit nervous, I want you to know today that God is on your side and he wants you to be brave and courageous. And in Joshua 1 verse 9, we can read this verse. I found it in my HotRock Bible. It says, "This is my command," God says, "be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." So whether you're going to school or whether you're moving to a new house or whether you are meeting new friends, God is always with you. This is my daughter Annie's favourite verse because she's faced some problems when she was at school. She was a bit nervous and worried about a few things, and God gave this verse to her, and it's been really powerful to her. It's also been helpful to me when I face new things or had to meet new people that I didn't know. And I want you to know that wherever you are, God is with you and he wants you to be brave. He doesn't want you afraid or being ruled by fear. Your HotRock challenge at the moment is to be showing how to be good, do kind things to others and to maybe be brave and do something different that you've never done before. We'd love you to see how many different ways you can be good and do good things to other people to help them know your peace and your braveness and the courage that God has given you. Because there's lots of people around us, aren't there, especially with this pandemic that we've had, where people have been a bit worried and they talk about their fears quite a lot. So we can be people of peace and we can be people who know that braveness from God. And when you have been a testimony of a story of something God has done for you, we'd love you to share that with people you know. Maybe it's something as simple as just holding the door open for someone or smiling at somebody who you pass in the street, or maybe when you're at school. There are all sorts of different things. And on our website at the moment, you will find a list of random acts of kindness, we've called them, of loads and loads of different things. Can you see there's loads on that sheet? I'm going to read a few now to help you have some ideas of things you can do to show God's love to others, because every time you do a good work, a good kind thing to somebody else, you're showing God's love to them. And sometimes that makes us brave, but it also brings our peace to them too. So things like you could help someone who is stuck. You could clean up a mess that you didn't make. You could write your teacher a note or a poem to tell them why you like them. Maybe you could tell someone a joke if they're a bit sad. At home, if you're learning from home or if you are at nursery, maybe you could make your brother or sister's bed for them and help tidy their bedroom. Maybe you could clear up after dinner without your mum or your dad asking you. Or read your brother or sister a bedtime story. Have a look on our website and see how many different things you can find to do this week to help encourage other people. Now, one of the things we can do to stay strong is to read our Bible. It's important to be strong on the inside as well as being brave on the outside, and God helps us by telling us what he thinks of us, how powerful he's made us, how strong and how courageous he's made us to be. And reading our Bible, even if it's just one little verse every day, is so powerful it can change your life. And that's why we love you learning memory verses, because they stay in your mind. And that verse for Annie was really important when she was at school and she didn't have her Bible with her, but she remembered that God said, "Be strong and courageous, I will be with you." And because she read it and learnt it, that was really powerful in her life. You might want to chat to God. It's really great to every day have some time. It's just quiet, you and God having a chat, a bit like you hang out with your mates at school or your friends. And you think, oh, we're looking forward to seeing them. God loves spending time with you too, and he loves to chat to you, and he loves to hear what you have to say to him. We can ask other people to help us if we're feeling a bit nervous or worried about something. We can ask other people to pray with us. We could ask them to help us if we're stuck on something so we don't have to worry all by ourselves. Sometimes it's brave just to ask for help. And we can show other people God's love so they too can be strong and know his peace. So what I'd like to do now is to have some time where we chat to God together. If you've got a grown-up with you, we'd love them to join in too, because chatting to God and praying to him is really powerful and can really help us know exactly what God is saying to us And what he says to us might be different to what he says to somebody else. So it's important we have a relationship with him where he is our friend and he can tell us really powerful and important things about how much he loves us. So what I want you to do is to find a really comfy place. I'm sat on my sofa here, so I'm going to join in with you too. I've got a comfy place, there's nobody making lots of noise around me, it's just quiet. You might like to lie down on your bed or sit in your favourite chair or just lay down on the floor somewhere you can be quiet and listen to God. And then I've got a few questions I'd like you to listen to, answer or chat to God about today. So let's all get comfy, snuggle in, and let's ask God a few questions. The first thing I'd like you to do is to tell God what you liked doing best today. You might have been at school or at home. Tell God what you like doing best today. You might like to shut your eyes while you do this, and we'll just give it a few seconds while you chat to God and listen to him. Now I'd like you to tell God what you didn't like today. Why don't you ask God what was his favourite part of today? What did he enjoy best being with you? And now I'd like you to tell God how you feel about being back at school or learning from home with your family. Tell him if you're worried or if you're excited. Tell him all about it. Just have a good chat, you and God, for a minute. Now I'd like you to ask God to tell you one thing he would like you to remember as you go back to school or as you learn from home with your family or play with your friends. What does he want to say to you today? What one thing does he want you to remember today? Well done, that's great. Isn't it good to stop and chat to God and to hear what he has to say to us? And you know what we just did then? You can do that anytime, anywhere, whether you're at school in the playground and you could just sit quietly and have a chat to God while you're sitting and listening. Maybe you could do it while you're waiting in a queue for your lunch, or maybe you could do it while you're chatting on the way to school with your mum and dad, and you could chat to God together then and listen to God together. You can do it with people or you can do it all by yourself. But spending time with Jesus is going to give you all the braveness and all the courage you need. We'll be praying for you as you're going back to school and as you're getting on with your new nurseries and starting new schools, because we want you to know that there is no fear, and where God is, that his love is so perfect it takes away your fear. So we want you to have a great time at school. We want to hear the testimonies of what you've been doing and have a really wonderful time. We look forward to seeing you soon and hope you have a really great week. Bye.